it's not the ministry that came up with it. This comes as a directive from the president during the State of the Nation address which she gave on the 24th of April this year, where she said that if there is any legislation within our country that's hampering or defeating service delivery, such law should be identified and it should be given to the person responsible or the minister responsible for justice within the country, so that those legislations can either be amended or if there is no legislation, new legislations can be created. So we are just following in on the directive that came from the president, and as the ministry responsible for that function, that's why we are now calling on members of public to then contribute towards some legislation reforms within our country.
Though the president called on the citizens to participate in legislative reform to submit their proposal to the Ministry of Justice and Labour Relations, what type of proposals is the ministry seeking from the public?
So we are looking at legislation that speaks to service delivery. The call from the president was service delivery. She really wants her administration to do better, to perform at the highest level when it comes to service delivery. So we are not pointing in any direction in terms of what kinds of legislation can be brought forward as proposals. We are just saying that anything that hampers service delivery within your space that gives you a problem as an individual citizen of our country, then you should bring it up. And you bring it up together with possible legislative solutions that can ensure that that problem that you're sitting with in terms of service delivery can then be addressed.
In what format does the ministry want the citizen to submit their proposals, and when is the deadline for submitting them?
We are asking on members of public currently to submit via email. We are asking for those proposals to be sent via email currently. But as we speak, we are currently busy planning and putting together tools and avenues in place that will enable members of public then to submit such proposals at the governor's offices for consideration. We are also in the process of developing a template that will then allow members of public just to fill in or answer such a template, and then ensuring that everything has been covered in terms of ensuring that their proposal is one that speaks to what we want to receive from members of public. For now, we are having an email address. It's submit@mojlr.gov.na. It's submit@mojlr.gov.na. But as I said, as soon as we have the other avenues ready within the regional offices, we will also communicate that. The deadline is the 13th of June because we really want to start working on improving service delivery. That's the whole aim. So we have given members of public a full month to give submissions through, and hopefully by the end of that, if there is still a huge cry, then we can consider the date. But for now, it's the 13th of June.
What criteria will be used to evaluate the proposals?
The entire process will be run by our Law Reform Directorate under the supervision of the Law Reform Commission of Namibia. These people are already experts in creating law reforms within the country. So they would be the ones then to go through each and every one of these proposals. We will obviously be looking at these proposals against the Constitution to see that it has to be in line with our Constitution. And then we will be looking at what is the greater good of this legislation being implemented for the Namibian nation. So we will be looking at the impact that such legislation would have on the country. And then also we will be looking at things like the number of similar proposals that we have received that speak to the same issue, which then highlights that this is an issue of high importance. So those are just some of the markers that we'll be using in then implementing this whole process.
And how will the ministry ensure all voices are heard in this process?
We want each and everyone that's hearing us as a Namibian citizen and as a person that lives in this territory, which is Namibia, to submit formally all those things that we are complaining about online. Additionally, what we also want to do is, once we have finalized the template on which you can put the proposal, we will also want to translate it into various languages within the country so that each and every individual has access to this document in their language, and then they can also put their submissions down or their proposals in their own language. So that one will also be shared within the coming days, that template within the different vernaculars that we have in the country, to ensure that language is the barrier to you participating in this exercise, and that you do really participate within the language that you are comfortable with and that you understand fully.
Do you have anything else to say to the public?
Just want to call on members of public, let's formalize those complaints. I know there's a lot of complaints that we have. We then voice our frustration on social media, but now this is an opportunity that has been created for us then to just formalize the complaints that we have already had, and then because we know also the solutions, and then you give us those solutions as well, and then the main thing is to improve service delivery within the country and to make our country a better country to live in.